So I used the slash and spread method to create a flounce for that design that is at the upper part of this dress. And you want to see how I made that because I'm giving every detailed information of this in this very particular video. Hey guys, and welcome back to another tutorial today. I'm really so excited about this video. Highly excited about this tutorial. If you're new here, please do well to subscribe. If you're not a subscriber, thank you for always coming back. So we're going to be seeing every details on how I achieved this particular gown, including that lower part of it that looks like, high-low. Let's head straight to the pattern drafting, okay? So this is my basic bodice front. And I have just my side bust dart and my waist dart. And for my sleeve, I'm going to be attaching the center sleeve, the front part of it, to the front armhole like so. So I'm going to be using my tape to join this together, making sure that that center sleeve aligns with this very tip of my shoulder, of my neckline, yeah, of my shoulder, sorry. Just exactly what I'm doing. I'm trying to show where my center sleeve is. So having done that now, I'll be using my tape to determine where the yoke of this dress is going to be. I want to use my tape to determine where the yoke is going to be. So I actually marked this point, but then I decided to first check that of the sleeve, like where the flounce is going to be fixed from. So I used 2.5 inches away from my center sleeve, and I'm marking all the way down. At the wrist area, I used 2 inches because the wrist area is actually tinier than the upper arm area. So I'll be using my ruler to connect those dots like so. So having done that now, I'm going ahead to, from that very line, give it like a shape. I don't know, kind of just mark straight from that very line where it fits perfectly, where the line suits to join that of the sleeve area, because that is where I'm going to be attaching my flounce, okay? And I'm going to be cutting this off. So having done that, this is what I'm having now. And I'm also going ahead to use my tape now to measure 5 inches all the way down, which is going to be the length of my flounce, the actual length of my flounce. So I'm measuring 5 inches all the way around to the sleeve area. So I'm going to be attaching an extra paper to that sleeve so that the 5 inches will be complete, okay? So I'm going ahead now to attach an extra paper so that the 5 inches of the sleeve area will be very much complete. And having done that, you want to use your tape and tape this down so that it stays in place. So I'm going ahead to tape it down just to hold it in place, okay? And then I'll go ahead to start marking the 5 inches from that very particular 2.5 and 2 inches that I marked. So I'll be connecting it all the way like so. Do not worry, I'll be using a marker to make this more visible so that we can see it clearly, okay? So I've gone ahead to get a marker and I'll be using my marker to make it visible. I'm using my marker now to make this very much visible like so. And yes, this is what it looks like. So I'm going ahead to trace out the whole of this. This whole place that there is marker, this whole place I drew out, I'm going to trace it out. And I'm going to have to trace this out like so. So having traced it out now, we'll go ahead to slash and spread this very traced out pattern. I'm labeling up and down so I know where is my up and where is down. Okay, so we'll go ahead to slash and spread this trace pattern. And before I do that, I'm going ahead to draw in my slash lines. I'm actually making my slash lines tinier. I'm labeling my center front, okay? So I'll know that this is the center front. I'm drawing my slash lines to be tinier because I want this to create a flounce, okay? So I'm going ahead to draw in my slash lines like so, all the way to the end of this traced pattern. I'm going ahead to draw in my slash lines, okay? All the way to the end of this traced pattern. And I haven't done that, I'll go ahead to cut to but not through. Remember, you're cutting from the down because that is where we need the fullness rather. So we're cutting from the down, and this is what it looks like. I've gone ahead to cut and slash and spread on a paper, and I'm also going ahead to also cut this very particular area like so, okay? So you just basically cut, open up and tape down on a fresh pattern paper, cut, open up, tape down on a fresh pattern paper. That is just it. And you were able to create the flounce. So as you can see, that was rounded flounce effect. I'll go ahead now to cut out the excess papers which we don't need. So I'm going ahead to cut the excess papers that we don't need out, just so we have the perfect flounce here. Okay. You want to be very careful with this so that you don't cut your actual pattern, which is the white fabric, the white paper, sorry. You want to be careful so you don't cut your actual pattern, okay? So here is it. I'm going ahead to remove all the excess papers like so. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do have to subscribe. Leave a comment for your girl in the comment section, okay? Thank you. So I'm going ahead to still cut off the excess papers. So yeah, this is what it looks like. So this is what it looks like. Okay, so heading straight to the original pattern, I'm going ahead to detach the sleeve from the bodice, okay? So having done that now, I'll go ahead to open up my side bust dart, okay? I'm going ahead to cut open my side bust dart. And also my waist dart, I'll go ahead to open it up. And I'll close my side bust dart, opening it at the waist dart because I just don't want to sew much. I don't want to sew side waist dart and side bust dart. So I just have to close up the side bust dart and open it at the waist dart. So I just have only the waist dart to sew. And for that very yoke, I'm going to be detaching it from the main bodice. So yes, this is what our front upper bodice is like. So heading straight to the back, there's nothing going on at the back. Just opening my dart for sewing, my back dart for sewing. So that is just all that is going on at the back and nothing more. So heading straight to that sleeve, I'm going to head to detach that excess that we attached so we could get our 5 inches flounce. I'm going to have to remove it, okay? And also the sellotapes, I'm going to have to remove everything. So we'll have our original sleeve for ease, for just you, so you understand what I'm doing. I'm going to have to remove every of those excesses that we attached to get our flounce. So we'll have our original sleeve. Okay, so now we have our original sleeve. I'm going to have to cut off this very particular part. Okay, I'm separating it so that we have 2 sleeves. I'm labeling. We have 2 sleeves. We have sleeve 1 and sleeve 2. So I'm actually separating this now. So I'm taking it off. And we have 2 sleeves now, like so. Sleeve 1 and sleeve 2. So I'm going to have to label them. And that'll be all. For the lower part of it, which is also very interesting part of it that you need to watch out for. Just please watch closely what I'm doing. I'm removing my darts now, okay? And I'm going ahead to extend my bust about measurement, which is the actual line where we took the darts from, all the way to the hemline. Please watch very closely. All the way to the hemline, okay? So I'm going ahead to cut to and not through to the point where the dart stops, like so. Have you seen that? So when you close it, you open up at the end. So I'm taping this down now with my sellotape. So I'm going ahead to slash more because we need more fullness. If you have more fabric, like I said, the more you slash, the more fullness you have. So if you have more fabric, then you can slash as much as you want. But if you want the exact look of what you see in this video, then you slash just like the way I'm slashing now. So this is what I'm doing right now. I'm slashing the more, as you can see, okay? And we're going to be opening up every of the slashed pattern, okay? So having done that, because I'm concentrating on the lower part of it, for that kind of, that's ending, that's pointed towards the center front. So I'm going to head to slash and spread, adding a fresh pattern paper to my hemline area like so. I'm going to head to slash and spread out this pattern like so. Okay, I'm not using any measurements for my slash and spread. I'm just eyeballing it. Whenever I feel like the distance is okay, like the flare is going to come out well, I'll be using that. So I'm going ahead to do that, slash and spread like so. Remember, whatever we're doing to the front is same with what we're doing to the back pattern, okay? So whatever you do to the front, whatever we're doing now is same with what we're doing to the back pattern. So I'm going to head to slash and spread this all the way like so. So having done that now, I'm adding more extra pattern paper for that design at the front, because the front is actually tilted and the sides are like kind of is the side, the front, the center front is higher than that of the side. So I'm adding more pattern to make my work easier and to make me understand what I'm doing. So from my center front, I'm going to head to mark. As you can see, I'm marking 8 inches, okay? I'm marking 8 inches. And from the sides, okay, so for the side, I marked 5 inches. You can make this lower. This is actually a client's dress and she doesn't wear something that is on top of her knee. Whatever has to be after her knee. So that is why I'm making this length very long. So I'm going to be connecting that 5 inches to the 8-inch line. I'm going to be connecting that 5 inches to the 8 inches line like so. And you're going to be having this slanted effect, okay? You're going to be having this slanted effect. I hope this is very much understandable. I connected that 5 inch to the 8 inches. So I'm going ahead to cut it all the way through like so. So this is what the slanted edge, this is what the edge looks like, okay? So I'm going to have to cut it on the fabric and this is what we are having. This is what it looks like. Let's head straight to the sewing. So I'm going ahead to sew up my darts. I marked my dart already, so I'm going ahead to sew up my dart like so. So I'm sewing the darts now for the front bodies and just the way I'm doing it, that's the way I'm going to be sewing up, including the darts of the back and also the lining, okay? Remember what we cut for the main bodies is what we also cut for the lining. So I'm going to have to sew up the darts of the both sides of the front and same thing I'll be doing to the lining and also to the back area of this very particular dress, okay? So this is what it looks like, having sewed the dart. So I'll head straight also to joining my lining and the front bodies together. I'm making my center front notches to align and I'll be sewing all the way to the edge like so. So also for the lower bodies, for the lower part of it, that is my waistline. I'm also going ahead to stitch it together, the lining and the fabric together. And the sides also. So I'll be flipping over to the other side and sewing like so all the way down to the side of it. Okay. Now go ahead also to stitch off the sides and also the armhole area. So I'm cutting off all the threads that are hanging around. So for the yoke of that front area, I'm making sure that my center front for the fabric and for the lining aligns, and I'll start sewing all the way around the neckline. So I'm cutting just, you don't want to cut close to the thread. You're cutting just somewhere very close to the thread. Then I'm going to have to top stitch it at the lining area. So having done that, this is what it looks like. As you can see, it's all laid flat and it's looking very nice. Just have to take off that excess. So heading straight to that very particular front area, I'm going to have to join my front and back together. As you can see that chalk, that pink chalk, I've marked my measurements for this particular client and I'm going to be sewing it all the way down like so. Making sure that the front measurement and the back measurement aligns. I'm going to have to sew all the way down, okay? Do not worry about that excesses. We are going to be waist shaping it, okay? Same thing I'll also be doing to this side, making sure that my measurements for the front and the back align and I'm sewing all the way down. So having done that now, next thing we're going to be sewing is our flounce. You want to take the center flounce and put it at the center of this very particular part of the front and then you sew all the way down. I'm sewing all the way to the edge of that very particular part of the front and you'll be seeing that right now. Sorry, I had to fix my thread properly. I don't know what's wrong. Well, so going ahead to sew it all the way down like so. All the way to this place. And I'll be leaving about half inch or 1 inch. Same thing I'll be doing to the other side. I always like starting from my center or the notches that I marked, just so I'm in alignment, just so everything aligns, okay? Like there are no, like everything is in uniform. Yeah, I think that's a perfect word. So make sure everything is in uniform. So I'm also sewing this very area. Remember that this flounce is not gathered. So you want to make sure that the flounce is laid out flat and nice. We are not gathering it. If you gather it, you run short. It's going to be like it's going to get short. So we're not gathering it. Make sure it is straight. Okay. So I'll go ahead to join the yoke. The center of the yoke to also the center part of this very particular area. And I'll be sewing it all the way down to that very particular edge where it fits to the main bodice of the center of the front, sorry. Making sure that my flounce is flatly laid. You don't want it to gather because it's not a gather, it's not gathered. If it gathers, it's going to be shortening the length of it. So I'm going to have to sew all the way like so. And I'll also be stopping at that same very part. And I'll also be sewing the other side, okay? So the other side also I'll be doing the same thing. And yes, this is what it looks like. So I'm going to have to take my back shoulder and my front shoulder because I want to give this a very neat finish. You're going to be seeing what I'm doing now. So I'm trying to make sure that the center aligns, like the center, like so. What you're seeing me doing like so. So I'm going to have to start sewing from the center, okay? And having done that, I'll sew all the way down, back and front fabric together from the center. And also from the center, I'll be sewing back and front lining together. So I'll be showing you what this looks like. So as you can see, we have a neat lining and a neat fabric. Can you see that? So having done that now, I'll go ahead to sew all the way around the armhole area to lay it flat. So as I'm attaching my sleeve, I'm not going to be having any kind of issues with trying to put the lining in place, fabric in place. So I'm trying to make sure that it's in place now. So when I'm sewing my sleeve, I'm not going to be having any issue trying to fix them in place, okay? So I'm sewing them together, making sure they are all laid flat. So having done that now, I'll go ahead to pick the first piece of the sleeve. Make sure you're sewing the center to the center of your armhole and that the front sleeve is in line with the front bodice, okay? So I'm going ahead now to sew all the way around. Remember that flounce is attached to our front, the front part of our sleeve. So what I'm sewing now is the back side of the sleeve and I'm going ahead to sew it all the way around the armhole to my side seam area. So heading over to that, okay, I'm going to have to complete that now, okay. I'm going to have to complete that now. And when I get to my side seam, I'll stop. Side seam, yeah, that of the armhole area, I'll stop. So I'm going ahead now to sew in that of the front, and I'll stop at the area where we removed that 2.5 inches to attach the flounce, okay. So that is what I've done right now. And having done that, we'll go ahead to sew our flounce to that sleeve area like so. I hope you understand what I'm doing. And I'm going ahead to sew my flounce to that sleeve area, okay? And that is what I'm doing right now. I'm going ahead to sew the flounce to that sleeve area. But firstly, I have to stitch up that ½ inch that we left between the yoke and the main bodice. So I haven't done that, I haven't stitched it up. We're going ahead now to sew all the way down to that very part of the sleeve area where the flounce is going to be attached. Remember, you don't want to gather your flounce, so you're sewing it straight, making sure that that very area is laid all the way straight, and you're sewing all the way down to the wrist of your sleeve. So that's what I've done now. And having done that, this is what it looks like. So also go ahead to attach the other piece of the sleeve. So this is the second sleeve, okay. I'm going ahead to attach the second sleeve. So I marked a notch to help me align the sleeve. So from that very notch that I marked, that's where I'm going to be sewing from, just so I make sure that this sleeve is in alignment, and what I'm doing is like I'm in line with what I'm doing. So that was why I marked that notch. So I'm starting from that notch. I'm sewing all the way down to my wrist area. I also advise you mark a notch from any point you want. So I marked a notch from that point, and I'm sewing all the way down to my wrist area. So I'm sewing it all the way down. So I'm sewing it all the way down to also meet the wrist of the main sleeve, okay. So after sewing that to meet the sleeve, from that very notch, I'll now be sewing it to measure up to the armhole area like so. Actually sewed something wrongly, so I'm trying to make it lay out flat. So I'll be sewing it to measure up to the armhole area like so. So I'm taking off the excesses. And having done that, we'll now just go ahead to complete that armhole area. Remember, complete the armhole area of the front sleeve, which is the part of the two-piece, the second part of the sleeve. So we're going ahead to complete it now, and that is what I've done. So having done that, I'm going to be flipping my sleeve to the back of it, that's to the wrong side, and I'll be shaping my sleeve all the way like you do your normal sleeve shaping, okay. So having done that, I'm going to have to attach my lower bodice to the upper bodice. So this is my front lower bodice. I'm making sure that the center seam aligns with the center seam of my upper bodice. This is actually my quick trick of sewing a flare, especially whenever I've closed up that I don't want to like kind of measure and do that. So I'm sewing from the center sleeve all the way from the center all the way to the side seam, and I won't get to the side seam. I'll just be leaving 1 inch before the side seam. As you can see, I left 1 inch before the side seam. So I also pick up that of the back, the lower bodies of the back, the lower part of the back, and I also place it to meet the upper bodies of the back, making sure that my zipper allowance area align, zipper allowance notches align, and I'll start sewing all the way to the waistline, also leaving about 1 inch or ½ inch as the case may be. So having done that, now you want to put it together, okay, front and back together to the very part where the side seam aligns. Then you're going to be sewing all the way down. Like, this is my quick trick if I don't want to measure, especially when I have a flare. Please do not do this if you're doing a straight cut or a pencil. Please just do this. In fact, I will even advise you measure. So, but this is my quick trick, okay. It's still the same thing. So I'm going ahead to sew all the way down, And same thing I'll be doing to the other side of it. Same thing I'll be doing to the other side of it, okay? Same thing I will be doing to the other side. So you want to lay that very 1-inch gap down and close it up. Like you want to lay it down and close it up at the waistline, okay? So having done that, now go ahead to fix my zipper. I'm going ahead to fix my zipper. I'm using an invisible zipper, so I'm trying to open up the edge of the zip and sew as close as possible to the very point where you zip up. But you don't want it to, you don't want the sewing to go into the zipper because it will not close. And also make sure it's aligning with your what is it called, zipper allowance, okay? So I'm sewing all the way down to the very part where I stitched up, where I want the zipper to stop. And I also sew in about 1 inch in, okay? And I'll stitch it up. Same thing I'll be doing to the other side, okay? I'll also be doing same thing to the other side. So I'll be closing this up first, and same thing I'll be doing to the other side. Thank you for watching this tutorial so far, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.